Aranda had always thought representing Earth in galactic diplomacy would be serious business. Long speeches, elegant robes, and polite discussions. He imagined calm halls with star maps and serene ambassadors. Instead, he found himself stepping carefully across the obsidian floors of Queen Salivara's floating palace, palms sweating, trying not to look like a man about to faint. The palace hovered above a glowing nebula, the clouds below pulsing like molten fire. He told himself this was an honor. He also told himself that hyperventilating would be deeply undiplomatic. 12 palace guards, each over 12 feet tall and clad in armor that hummed with arc currents, flanked him in perfect synchronization. They didn't glance down at him, but their silent presence was far more unnerving than anger ever could have been. Aranda cleared his throat. "Nice weather out there," he said, weakly. One guard blinked. Another made a noise that could have been a grunt, or the palace's air system adjusting. Hard to tell. Beneath his collar, the crystalline pendant he had worn since childhood thumped softly against his chest. Its faint glow was comforting, a small tether to a world that still made sense. If it began to vibrate, he promised himself, he would run. The massive throne doors parted with a soft hiss, and the guards stepped aside. Aranda forced himself forward, trying not to imagine the entire court watching, expecting him to trip, faint, or do something spectacularly foolish. He nearly did. His boot caught on the hem of his cloak, and he corrected himself just in time, earning a small, startled snort from one of the guards. The throne room was immense, stretching like a cathedral built to intimidate. Crystalline orbs floated above, rotating slowly as if defying gravity on purpose. Star maps shimmered across the walls, alive with faint motion. At the far end sat Queen Salivara, radiant and composed. Her blue skin glowed faintly, golden hair falling in perfect strands, long ears curving upward like wings. She looked carved from starlight. Aranda swallowed, bowed, and took a hesitant step forward, then froze. Salivara's eyes had changed. Her golden gaze, usually so controlled, now sharpened, widened, and softened. Her hands trembled slightly. The throne room seemed to pause, holding its breath. Then she descended the crystalline steps, slow and deliberate, and Aranda realized she was crying. The court erupted in whispers. Guards stiffened. Nobles fainted. Aranda's heart pounded. Salivara lifted a trembling hand toward his pendant. Her voice barely a whisper, she spoke a name, a childhood nickname, not his title. A name only she had ever called him. 23 years ago, in a dusty border colony, he had helped a frightened girl with long ears hide from danger, share stolen food, and survive the harsh desert. In gratitude, she had given him the pendant. He had never forgotten her. And now, standing before him, the most powerful queen in the galaxy, she was the same girl he had once helped. "You kept it?" she asked softly. Yes, he admitted, almost laughing. "You can't just throw away a gift from someone who saved you from angry desert lizards. Twice." Salivara covered her face, laughing and crying at the same time. Aranda realized that in this moment, nothing about diplomacy would ever be simple again. She led him to a smaller chamber, private and softly glowing, like a mix between a star observatory and a meditation pod. Holographic constellations drifted across the ceiling, and a tea table hovered toward them as if sensing their emotions. They sat across from each other. "You remember," she said, fingers clasping nervously, "the colony, the sandstorms, the hideouts, the stolen biscuits." "I tried to justify the biscuits," he said. "The shopkeeper said they were unchildable. Encouragement, I assume." She laughed softly, a sound that made the holographic stars flicker as if they were alive. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other, memories bridging decades. The scared girl hiding in the ruins. The boy who thought her long ears were cool. The whispered fears and stolen meals. The day she had been taken by a rescue patrol, never to return until now. "I thought I'd never see you again," she whispered. "Duty, expectations, politics, all of it changed my life. And yet, I kept wondering, did the boy ever grow into those boots?" "Barely," he admitted. "I still trip over nothing." Signature move. The pendant glowed softly between them. Salivara's gaze fell on it. "There is more to this than sentiment," she said. Aranda swallowed. Yes, well, I guessed when your guard scanned me 17 times, he replied. It's an ancient relic, she said. It symbolizes potential bonds, unity between clans. Not romantic necessarily, though poets interpreted it that way. So, we're cosmically compatible, he asked. She groaned. They're gossiping already, she said, ears twitching nervously. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that you kept it. I promised I would, he said. Friends make promises. You were my first friend, she said softly. Silence stretched between them, warm and heavy with memory. But reality intruded. The palace alarm chimed softly. The council is asking why the throne room is sealed, Salavara said, activating a hovering console. They suspect emotional compromise. Aranda offered a panicked shrug. She gave him a sharp look and laughed despite herself. We must be careful. They will twist this into prophecy if we are not cautious. Prophecy, he repeated. Yes. Decidedly not metaphorical. He groaned. Salavara straightened, regal once more. Whatever comes next, we face it together, just as we did as children. He smiled, hopefully without sandstorms. She extended a hand, he took it. The pendant glowed brighter. The council chamber awaited, full of nobles, ministers, and an elderly archivist who looked ready to faint at the slightest disturbance. Holographic panels displayed the pendant, rotating dramatically. Your Majesty, Ambassador Aranda, said the council minister, we have concerns. I'm aware it looks bad, Aranda interjected. But we are here for peace, not destiny. The pendant identifies compatible souls, the archivist gasped. Historically, such bonds shaped empires. Aranda leaned in. Has anyone considered it's just reacting to my stress? Salavara whispered, please stop making it glow. He whispered back, it glows on its own. It has a personality. Likes drama. The tension cracked with soft laughter. Salavara stepped forward. I have spent years shaping our empire through duty alone. But fate brought Aranda back, not as prophecy, but as a reminder of who I once was. He taught me compassion. The council murmured. Some nodded. Others looked skeptical. Finally, the minister asked, what do you choose, Your Majesty? Salavara turned to Aranda. Golden hair shimmering, long ears lifted. I choose peace, she said softly. And to honor the bond between us without letting it dictate our futures. Let it be a symbol of unity. Aranda felt warmth settle in him. And I choose to stand with her strictly in a diplomatic capacity, he added. The council voted. The treaty would proceed. Rediscovered friendship had strengthened, not weakened, interstellar peace. Later, they walked through the star gardens. Plasma ribbons drifted beneath them like slow auroras. You handled yourself well, Salavara said. I tripped twice, he reminded her. Yes, she agreed. But you did not fall. Improvement. He laughed. Today changed me. I came here terrified of ruining everything. Seeing you again reminded me diplomacy is about people, connections, promises. She touched the pendant, warm against his chest. You kept yours. I'll keep mine. Silence settled between them, full and comforting. The glowing nebula below shimmered like endless fireflies. Whatever path we choose next, she said softly, we choose it together. Not bound by relics, not by fate, but by who we've become. Then let's build something better than prophecy, he said. Side by side, they looked out over the horizon. Two souls reunited, not by destiny, but by memory, transformed into a future worth shaping. And for the first time in years, the galaxy seemed a little brighter. The palace was quiet, but the calm was misleading. The soft hum of energy fields and drifting light in the star gardens gave a sense of peace, yet Aranda felt the weight of responsibility pressing against him. The treaty had been accepted, the council satisfied, yet the galaxy beyond the palace walls had not changed. Threats, politics, and wars were always a heartbeat away. Salavara led him deeper into the palace, past floating bridges and glass walkways. The view below was mesmerizing, Nebulae and distant stars painted the endless sky, their light refracting through crystalline pillars like scattered diamonds. Despite the beauty, Aranda couldn't shake a sense of tension. Something was coming, something they had not yet seen. "You're quiet," Salivara observed, her golden eyes catching his unease. Her ears twitched subtly, a nervous habit from childhood that had never left. "I'm thinking," he said, "about what happens next. Peace treaties are fragile. One wrong move, and the galaxy forgets friendship and remembers fear." She nodded. "I know. And that is why we must be ready, not just for diplomacy, but for threats. You've already proven you are more than a simple ambassador." Aranda flushed. "I tripped over my own boots half the time. That hardly counts." Salivara smiled, a real, warm smile. "You kept the pendant. You kept a promise. That is more than most could do. Sometimes, the galaxy needs that more than perfect strategy." As they walked, the palace sensors detected a faint anomaly. The soft glow of the floor panels shifted, alerting them to a presence in a distant wing. Salivara's expression changed instantly from calm to alert. She reached out and touched Aranda's arm. "Something approaches. Someone unexpected." Before he could ask, a shadow moved along the walls of the corridor, a figure cloaked in dark energy, blending seamlessly with the obsidian surfaces. Aranda's heart raced. His childhood lessons about hiding from danger suddenly seemed relevant again, though the stakes were galaxies higher. The figure stepped forward, revealing a tall, armored stranger. His armor pulsed with a cold blue light, and his eyes glowed faintly beneath a visor. He spoke in a low, melodic voice. "Queen Salivara. Ambassador Aranda. We meet at last." Salivara stiffened. "Who are you?" "I am Varys," the stranger replied, bowing slightly. "I represent the Shard Dominion. We have watched your negotiations, and we have concerns." Aranda's stomach tightened. He had read about the Shard Dominion, an empire known for swift strikes, political manipulation, and ruthless efficiency. Peace talks rarely survived their interference. Salivara's voice was firm but controlled. "What concerns? Speak clearly, Varys." Varys's gaze shifted briefly to Aranda, then back to Salivara. "You have united two peoples who were meant to be adversaries. That is troubling. The balance we maintained is threatened. And you, Ambassador, carry an artifact that the Dominion recognizes." Aranda glanced down at the pendant, its soft glow pulsing against his chest. I don't know what you mean. It's just a gift from a childhood friend." Varys shook his head slowly. "It is not just a gift. It is a relic of cosmic significance. It marks you both as a potential catalyst for unity, or chaos. Some would prefer chaos." Salivara's long ears twitched in annoyance. "And I suppose you are here to ensure chaos remains." "Not personally," Varys replied smoothly. "But the Dominion has interests. Interests that will not accept interference." Aranda swallowed. He had faced danger before, but this was a different level. The palace was magnificent, but it would not withstand an attack from a determined, technologically advanced enemy. Salivara stepped forward. "Then hear me clearly, Varys. No external force will dictate the course of my people. We choose peace. We choose unity. And we choose the boy who once helped a frightened girl in a desert colony to stand beside us." Varys's visor glowed brighter, reflecting the lights of the palace. Bold words. But words are not shields. Actions are what define survival. He turned and vanished into the shadows before Aranda or Salivara could react. A chill lingered in the corridor, the kind that made the very air feel heavier. Salivara exhaled slowly. "He is testing us. The Shard Dominion rarely acts without observation first. They want to see how fragile we are, how easily fear can fracture alliances." Aranda touched the pendant lightly. "Fragile?" he asked quietly. "I don't feel fragile." "You will," she said softly, "if we are not careful." That evening, they convened a private council in the observatory chamber. Advisors from Earth and Athetherian gathered, whispering concerns and analyzing star charts. Holographic displays showed potential Dominion fleets moving along trade routes and border systems. The Dominion rarely acts openly, Salavara explained. They prefer subtle influence. Infiltrators, spies, provocateurs. But now, the presence of a relic, the same pendant Aranda carries, changes their calculations. Aranda frowned. So, what? I wear this thing, and suddenly I'm a galactic threat. Yes, she admitted. But also a symbol of hope. That is why the Dominion watches. That is why we must act wisely. A younger advisor spoke up. Majesty, should we remove the ambassador from this space? For his safety. Salavara shook her head. No. He stays. His presence strengthens unity. And I trust him. He has never faltered when it mattered. Aranda's stomach clenched, a mix of pride and fear. The galaxy was larger, more dangerous, than anything he had faced as a boy hiding behind scrap metal. And yet, he had learned one thing. Courage often began with small, seemingly insignificant choices. Over the next days, Aranda and Salavara worked to solidify alliances. They drafted treaties, exchanged fleets, and sent envoys to neighboring systems. But every night, the shadow of the Dominion loomed. Small incidents began to occur, communications disrupted, supply ships mysteriously lost, and rumors of mercenary activity along trade lanes. One night, Aranda could not sleep. He wandered the star gardens alone, the pendant glowing faintly. The nebula below shimmered, vast and endless. Memories of childhood flashed through his mind, the sandstorms, the hidden hideouts, the frightened girl who had trusted him. That trust had shaped him, and now, it was the foundation for the galaxy's fragile peace. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the floating bridge ahead. Salavara, her golden hair catching the ambient light, approached silently. You're awake, she said softly. I could ask the same, he replied. She stopped beside him, gazing at the nebula. The Dominion will test us, she said. And soon. But together, we are stronger than they know. Stronger than fear. Stronger than history. Aranda smiled faintly. I hope so. Because I'm still not sure I can trip over nothing gracefully in front of an invading fleet. Salavara laughed quietly. You will. Somehow, you always find a way. Her ears twitched as a distant hum echoed through the palace, a signal from the outer shields. They both stiffened. The Dominion fleet, Salavara whispered. They are close. Closer than we expected. Aranda's heart raced. This was no longer a threat of whispers or shadows. This was immediate, tangible danger. The nebula below reflected pale lights as the palace's defense systems activated, energy barriers arcing to full strength. The floating bridges hummed with tension. Salavara turned to him, eyes glowing with determination. Whatever happens, Aranda, we face this together. Not as ambassador and queen, not as relic bearer and sovereign, but as friends. Friends who trusted each other in a desert storm. And we will not fail. He nodded. Agreed. But if we survive this, I want a medal. Or snacks. Whichever comes first. She rolled her eyes, but a smile broke through her calm exterior. I will consider it, she said. Above them, the stars of the nebula swirled, and a fleet of dark ships emerged from the cosmic clouds. The galaxy was watching. And two souls, bound by memory and courage, prepared to shape the future, not through destiny, but through choice. The first shots of the Dominion skirmish lit the skies around the palace. Energy arcs flashed across the void, lighting up the obsidian halls with ominous reflections. Shields held, but barely. Aranda gripped the pendant, its glow pulsing in sync with his heartbeat. Salavara's hands hovered over control panels, issuing commands with calm precision. They were no longer just ambassador and queen. They were a team forged by history, by memory, by trust. And together, they would meet the galaxy's darkness head-on. The battle for peace had truly begun.